I want to thank everybody for coming today to be a part of this great award that I've been fortunate for our agency to receive. I definitely want to thank Mayor Dorothy Welch and the council for supporting us and realizing the importance of training. We're a small city. Cost of training is not cheap. These courses were pretty expensive, but we were trained by premier instructors from all over the United States, and that kind of training goes a long way. LEEDA is able to bring in some of the best instructors available and kept us and keeps us updated in the latest changes in law, public information releases. I mean, just a multitude of networking guidelines and stuff like that. Very important to today's law enforcement management. You don't stay ahead of the curve, and now, I mean, I've got Constable Hayden, Chief Wieghat. I mean, you can get involved in a lot of lawsuits real quick. So it's very important that you know what you're doing, you do it correctly, and you don't have to ever worry about being accountable because you did your job right. I'm very blessed that I've got top staff people, Captain Hadrych, Lieutenant Teller, and Lieutenant Denzler, who can't be here. He's working for the fire department, carries multiple hats, and again, I can't thank David Aiden, who been counsel and kicked me around for what, 35 years worth of kicking, I guess. Too long. Too long. So, Tracy, thank you so much for coming up here. I know you're busy, but the mayor's always kind enough to come to these events, but I appreciate y'all being a part of it too. Down at Welter or Court. Anyway, it's a commissioner, can't forget that. Don't get any roads fixed around here. But anyway, we're very blessed in a lot of ways. So I'd like to introduce Frank Woodall, I'm sorry, I got dropped out, with FBI-LEEDA, and you can go with the program and let them know what LEEDA's all about.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
It's definitely my pleasure to be here representing the Law Enforcement Executive Development Association, or FBI-LEEDA. We are an independent organization, but we do fall under the FBI's training umbrella. We're just right at 30 years old, and what started us was a group of people that had been through the FBI National Academy and the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminars, decided that we needed to have some vehicle, some avenue where we could make leadership training more available for more officers and more agencies. And that's what kind of put us in place. We started out with an executive leadership course, and then over the years, we developed into what we call the Trilogy Award. And the Trilogy Award is for officers that complete the Supervisory Leadership Institute, the Command Leadership Institute, and the Executive Leadership Institute. So once they've completed all three of these, then they receive the Trilogy Award. We also have now instituted some online courses, so we also have officers that have the ability to take an ethics course, a supervisor's liability course, an advanced liability course, and get their trilogy online. But we got to thinking, you know, this is well and good, and as the chief says, the training is not cheap. But the thing about it is, oftentimes when budgets get short, training is one of the first things that go. When this happens, actually training should be one of the things that we should be investing in, because that's truly what it is. Training is an investment in people, and it's an investment in their ability to do their jobs as best as they can do their jobs. So FBI-LEEDA about 3 years ago got to thinking, what can we do to recognize those agencies across the nation that are willing to invest in their people and invest in their communities and send officers to training, so that when they can now be better trained and better prepared to help their communities. And so that's where this Agency Trilogy Award came about. The Agency Trilogy Award is given to those agencies that have invested enough time that they have sent their entire command staff to FBI-LEEDA training. And then, like I said, this is about 3 years. We've got in Texas right around 1,000, just a little over 1,000 police agencies in Texas. And it's my privilege to be here that the chief in Splendor Police Department is only the second award of this that has been given in the state of Texas. So that gives you some idea about this. It kind of gives you also an idea that not everybody gets one. It takes quite a bit of work to get this. But the community of Splendora, the chief, has invested in its members to provide this training. And as a result, you're not ready for an award. The FBI Trilogy Award is, we have the FBI-LEEDA pin, and then the Trilogy Award that those people who have completed the trilogy wear, such as the chief is wearing on his uniform and I wear on my lapel. And like I said, this is only the second one in Texas. Chief, on behalf of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association, I'm very pleased to present this to you and to your agency. So. And while I've got the chief and his officers up here, if I could get somebody to take a picture so that I can send it to him. Because they want to make sure we all. Weehawk and his agency, simply because of the fact they are the first agency in the eastern part of Texas to receive this award. But like I said, only the second one in the state of Texas, which says quite a bit for your commitment to law enforcement and training in law enforcement in the city of Splendora's commitment to training law enforcement. As the chief says, and we all know it because we see it, this is an ever-changing environment. And the more that we can train men and women involved in law enforcement, the better we're going to be able to meet the needs of our communities. And it's, like I said, I'm privileged to be a part of this training group that conducts some of these training courses that they went to. So, thank you, Chief.
Thank you so much. Well, the city was kind enough. Anyway. Thank y'all so much for coming. I think the food is really good. Stop.
So okay, first, let's start from the beginning. First of all, your name, spell it?
It's Woodall, Woodall, Frank Woodall.
And you're with FBI?
Actually, I am with the Law Enforcement Executive Development Association. We come under the FBI training umbrella, but we're not part of the FBI.
Tell me a little bit about this class, the certification they've gotten.
The FBI-LEEDA, for many years now, has put together a trilogy award for law enforcement officers that attend our training courses. And there were 3 courses: a Supervisors Leadership Institute, a Command Leadership Institute, and an Executive Leadership Institute. About 3 to 5 years ago, the organization got to looking, how do we recognize agencies that have made the investment in their officers that the entire command staff of the agency has been through the training and has received the Trilogy Award. And that's where the Agency Trilogy Award comes in, is to recognize those agencies that have sent their entire command staff through the Trilogy training, such as Splendora has. This is, it's no big, I guess you could say it's a very big deal because of the fact that this requires them to attend 3 weeks of training to get the Trilogy Award. And then, like I said, this is not only invested in one officer, this is invested in the entire command staff. So it's also an investment for the city or the county that this organization represents. Splendora PD is only the second agency in the state of Texas to receive this Agency Trilogy Award.
And what about, tell me a little bit about what is the Trilogy Award, and what does the class cover?
The class covers, it depends upon the classes. Obviously, the Supervisors Leadership Institute are for those people who are just getting into supervision. And so with them, we start talking about some of the basics of law enforcement administration, the basics of supervision, how they deal with officers, how they deal with issues that arise as a supervisor. The command, and now we're looking at mid-manager officers, and we look at team building, we look at decision making, we look at some of the nuances of what's going on in law enforcement in today's environment. And then the Executive Leadership Institute obviously is for the upper leadership within an agency. And here we talk about the importance of building trust in the community. We talk about procedural justice. We talk about investment in their people, in health and wellness issues to make sure that they're there. We talk about the overall trends that are currently in law enforcement and they're going to affect each and every agency.
Okay, first of all, name and title?
Wally Weehawk, Chief of Police for the City of Splendor Police Department.
Tell me about this award, how important it is to the city and what it's like having these guys go through it.
It's very important to the city because in today's law enforcement training, staying ahead of the curve on the latest changes in the law and public release of information and stuff like that is paramount. And if you don't stay on top of it, you get left behind, and it's just not something that this agency wants to do. So we are very much in the forefront of training. I'm very fortunate that I've got a mayor and council that backs our training needs, and for a small city, these courses are quite expensive. They're about $700 a piece, not counting hotel, motel if they're out of town, and they're scheduled around the country or around the state. So sometimes we have to travel, but the city has always backed us on that, and because they realize the importance of training and staying up with the latest law changes and stuff like that. And LEEDA brings in premier instructors from all over the United States, so we get the best of the best in training.
And you're one of the only ones with this award in the state.
We are the second one in the state of Texas to receive the award. We're the first in East Texas to receive the award. So as far as East Texas, we're the first one that all the command staff, two of my lieutenants, and the captain and myself have completed this training successfully. It's pretty tough training and testing throughout the courses and stuff like that, so it's not easy.
Kind of proud of your guys?
Very proud of my guys, very proud of them. We've got a good group, very good group.
Okay.